What's going on, Packers fans? Aaron Nagler here with some instant reactions to the Packers' 34-0 domination of the New Orleans Saints. There at Lambeau Field on Monday Night Football, Green Bay Packers came to play. This game was over. I mean, actually over. Probably 3 drives into the game on offense from the Packers, but if you want to talk technical daggers, it was the first touchdown of the night because the Packers pitched the first shutout of the NFL season against, yes, a depleted New Orleans Saints offense. No question about it. They were overmatched from the get-go. But man, there hasn't been a team that hasn't scored a single point all year long. And the Packers completely shut down any hope of the Saints. But really, initially, I mean, you go that first drive from the Saints, trying to utilize the screen game a little bit, leaning into the run game when they had to. You thought, okay, they're going to have some tricks up their sleeve. But more often than not, Jeff Hafley was ahead of the curve, and they really never presented a threat throughout the entirety of the game. And on offense, the Packers did what they wanted early. Once they were up 21-0, the game was essentially over. And I know I've seen chats already talking about style points and what they look like and the eye test. I'm telling you, after that third drive, none of that mattered. So I have no doubt some Packers fans will be dissatisfied with this win, which I understand, but I'm here to tell you it does not happen often in the NFL where you thoroughly dominate an opponent. When you score 34 points and still left a bunch out there on the field to score, and you don't allow them to score a single point themselves, enjoy this, Packers fans. I'm begging you. This is phenomenal stuff, especially a couple days before Christmas. Just great work from Matt LaFleur's team. No doubt about it. Still a lot of work to do and a formidable foe coming up this weekend against the Vikings in their house. Late afternoon window. A lot of eyeballs going to be on this game. Huge contest coming up. But for right now, getting to marinate in total domination in front of the entire country. Absolutely love to see it. Hello to everybody in the comments. Hope you're all doing well. So good to see everybody already mixing it up. We got a bunch of chats up in here. What's going on, folks? Soder starting us off. How are you, man? Love is much better than average, but Packers are currently winning big without all-world QB play. When was the last time that happened? 2003? 1978? 2003 is what leaps to mind because of Brett's thumb injury and the fact that he really couldn't put the ball where he wanted to sometimes. And there's no doubt they leaned on Amon Green and the running game throughout that season after the broken thumb. But we've talked about this a lot on Happy Hour. The formula in Green Bay has often been, we need the quarterback to be Superman. Currently, that is not a requisite in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Jordan Love is still a young starter, still in his second year as a starter. I understand everybody wants him to put up Star Wars numbers every game. I don't need that for my quarterback. Packers don't seem to either. There will come a time when they will need Jordan Love to play at a higher level consistently. That time has not arrived. There's no doubt this team is constructed to run through the running game, if you'll pardon the expression, run through Josh Jacobs, and everything works and flows off of that. Obviously, it helps to have an opportunistic defense that gives you a few more cracks at the plate, so to speak. But right now, Jordan Love is helping them win football games. And there's things he's doing that probably don't get talked about or won't get talked about in regards to, you saw a number of times tonight where it's clear they're looking for a shot downfield. Jordan doesn't like what he sees, pulls it down, either hits the check down, makes something happen outside the pocket. Those are winning plays. Those are plays that won't show up on the stat sheet, won't get talked about or clipped for YouTube or Twitter or whatever. That's still winning football. And that's the name of the game, is getting that W at the end of the day, which the Packers certainly did tonight. Joey, what's going on, man? Is it weird to say Love didn't have his best game? No, I don't think it's weird to say it. I understand where that's coming from, especially in the second half once the game was in hand. But the game was in hand. I don't really have any issues with Love's play tonight. Certainly was off a tick there in the second half at times. There's no doubt you would have liked to see a little bit more production and consistency. He's still missing at least one gimme and or layup every single game. The pass out in the flat to Bo Melton that he throws into the ground, can't have that. And it seems like that occurs almost every single game. But for the most part, like I said, taking care of the ball early, making sure they're in good situations, staying ahead of the stakes, staying on schedule. Lots of great work at the line of scrimmage. Again, something that won't get quantified or talked about. All of that contributes to those 3 touchdown drives that they had. Again, to open the game, control it, and essentially have the game over by the 4th time you touch the ball on offense. A lot of that can be contributed to Love. It won't be, but it can be. Dustin, what's up, man? Amazing win. Great game. What's exciting is I know we can play even better 5 in a row, scoring 30, and offense can still grow. Exciting times. Go, Pack, go. It's a healthy way to look at it, man. I understand there are people, like I said at the top, that will have things to gripe about after this victory. 34-0 is not an everyday occurrence. And if you have grown bored of that, I don't know what to tell you. This is stuff you should be excited about and enjoying. And I'm with you, Dustin. I think there's a lot of room for growth. Certainly, the fact that there is so much room for growth while they're scoring 30 plus a game, 5 games in a row, it's pretty impressive. Mike Witt, what's up, man? Eeyore number 2 checking in and shouting at the all caps. Now that is how you dominate a team. Clearly not in your league. Hopefully number 9 isn't too hurt as we get Ja back Sunday. Go, Pack, go. Yeah, you could kind of see, I thought, Matt's frustration there on the end around where Watson was thinking he might score, but gets just short of the goal line. Nice pick. I think it was 11 yards and then comes up hurt. He did return to the game, but then obviously exited the game again with that knee. Hate to see it. And you could see, like, I think Matt was saying, I'm trying to get him involved, trying to get the ball in his hands. You can't take a hit. That's frustrating when there's a guy who's so dynamic, so explosive. You want to make sure he's involved. But man, it seems every game there's some kind of play that somewhat looks innocuous, but is problematic in the end of the game, so to speak. So yeah, I get probably where the frustration might start to set in there. Definitely need to cross your fingers and hope that he is not seriously injured because you saw tonight on the big play, there were a couple plays, 2 in particular, where they have Watson going on a deep post or a deep 9 route, and he's drawing defenders with him, and there's all sorts of openings underneath because of the attention paid to him deep. You just got to hope he's right as rain once the playoffs come because they're going to need him. Danny, thanks for the super chat, man. Great win. Boys flying around our time of the year. Keep it rolling into Minnesota. Keep feeding 8. Merry Christmas. And as always, go, Pack, go. Merry Christmas, Danny. And yes, go, Pack, go. I like where your head's at. John Simitovich, what's up, man? Zane fucking Anderson? Are you serious? I saw someone on our chat today during the game said, yeah, Rattler didn't see him because he's not a real person. A+ for that chat. I mean, Zane Anderson has played well when called upon. Obviously got the call a couple weeks ago when injury struck and acquitted himself quite well and got the start tonight. And I think, again, you got to go back and look at it. It's hard to gauge safety play from broadcast copy, especially during the game. But man, he seems to have filled that void really nicely and done what's necessary, being that running mate with Xavier McKinney. They don't seem to miss a beat, so to speak, when he's in there. That's a testament to him, the work he's done. I mean, coming from, as the jokes about, is he a real guy? Because he had been essentially, sidelined for so long, not active for, half a season or for 3/4 of a season, to now he's the first man off the bench when they need somebody at safety. It's pretty impressive, man. Good work on his end. Stony Grant, thanks to the super chat. Great night. Packers D does just enough versus Josh Jacobs to send me back to my fantasy championship. Shout out special teams. McManus is money. How about McManus? A 55-yarder, another one at 46. It's kind of weird, I got to admit. And I keep joking about the whole kind of Fight Club, like, don't talk about it because I don't want to like jinx it or whatever. But it is bizarre. After all the angst last season with Carlson, and then all throughout the summer, the drama and the ups and downs at the position, and even into the start of the regular season, where if they have McManus, they probably win the game against the Eagles. They probably win against that first game against the Vikings. Then they're sitting here in the mix for the first overall seed. It's crazy, right? But now I just can't wrap my head around they have a kicker, and I never really hold my breath. Now, he's missed one or two this year, and kickers are going to miss sometimes, and that's going to happen. But I'm never kind of heart in my throat about his approach getting out there. And I thought tonight, a 55 yarder, I think he's hit one from beyond 50 so far this year. I think it was a 51 yarder earlier this season. 55 feels okay. That's a serious attempt, and you're probably giving them really good field position if you miss it. Obviously, you're not too worried about that tonight because the Packers defense had a good handle on things. But apparently, I remember I read Tom Silverstein pregame. McManus was hitting from like 57, 58. So clearly a good night, feeling it. Matt let him try it, and damn if he didn't nail it. That's the other thing. Right down the middle. It's rarely, not doesn't mean never, but rarely these, it's kind of drifting or it's coming back in. He's just right down the middle. No worries. Is this our life? Is this where we're at now? Feels like we lived in like purgatory for 10 years, even though it was just one season. But man, it's nice to have a kicker. No question about it. Soder, what's up? New York Cheesehead hates the Vikings. He is correct. Yes, of course he's correct. Porkmaster, thanks, man. Comforty watching an opponent surrender. Packers are like a boa constrictor, just slowly crushing people to death. Saints accepted it, and it was awesome. I mean, that's a pretty apt metaphor. I think there was zero doubt that once they got up even a couple scores, let alone 21 nothing, they were content to kind of let the Saints do some stuff underneath, but eventually they were going to suffocate the opponent, and they did throughout the entire night. Steve, what's up, Steve O? How are you, man? Thanks for the super chat. Favorite Christmas songs that you like to enjoy with the girls, and one you like that's a personal favorite. Wow, that's a curveball there, Steve. Favorite Christmas songs you like to enjoy with the girls? My daughter's like the one that my daughter's like that I love is Tori Kelly's 25th. If you haven't heard that, I highly recommend it. It's an amazing modern pop Christmas song. The girls love it. I love it. There's another one by Carly Rae Jepsen that we both like as well. As far as I like, that's a personal favorite. Always, forever, and ever, Last Christmas. I've been a huge Last Christmas fan since the song came out in 1984. I have played that song on repeat every single Christmas, sometimes not even at Christmas, basically throughout my entire life. I love that song. Brian, thanks for the super chat, man. My brother is in the Navy and back from Japan for Xmas. We're singing The Bears Still Suck at full volume. We love our team and Northeast Wisconsin. Go Pack Go. Brian, so good. I love that you're hanging out with your brother. Thank him for his service. Merry Christmas, Brian. Thank you, brother. Soder, thanks for super chat, man. Musgrave back and they work the middle with the pass. Happy hour knows football. I mean, yeah, Musgrave it dipped his toe back in the water. And look, not just the middle of the field, but they were really manipulating what the Saints were doing on the back end as far as, again, this is what I was talking about earlier on the Watson kind of deep post. There's a deep post that he runs, and then they run Kraft underneath it on a crosser, and he is open for miles. And that's the kind of thing that Watson helps you get. So again, I really hope they don't, miss Watson for too long. Nags is a T Swift kind of guy. I like Taylor Swift, but her cover of Last Christmas is an abomination, as is every single cover of Last Christmas ever recorded. Abominations, every single one of them. Brandy, Corey would never let the kicker be the hotness. Corey doesn't get a say in the hotness. I make the hotness. But what's crazy is I said it on the stream. The hotness was decided in the first drive. That stiff arm from Jacobs on the Honey Badger, the only thing missing from that play is him getting into the end zone. He's a little off kilter and he stumbles out of bounds, but what an outs. And it's his offhand. like his left hand. Oh, phenomenal play. Just phenomenal. Last Scouts, thanks for being a Care of the G Club member. Appreciate you. How often have you seen the Packers shut out an opponent? That seems like some longest yard, Reynolds, not Sandler theory. Go back, go. It's been a long time. Usually towards the end of a game, you're playing soft off, letting them maneuver downfield, and eventually someone will get in range where they'll kick a field goal just to put 3 points on the board. Saints could never even really do that tonight. Yeah, man. They don't come around quite enough. They don't come around often. So enjoy it. 1000% enjoy it. Brandy, I did a couple Stiff Arms Christmas shopping. Yeah, well, sometimes you need to, right? John, thanks for checking out the stream on Twitter. Josh Jacobs, dog. Chris Brooks, dog. Emmanuel Wilson, dog. This style of play has me juiced for playoff football, even on the road. Run game and defense travels. John, you've been watching. Been saying this all year. This is the major difference this year comparative to any team LaFleur has had up until this point. And I'd say any team through the last couple coaches, last couple quarterbacks. I mean, it's rare when a Packers team has a running game and a defense. This team definitely has a running game. I have no doubt about that. And I'm starting to think they got a defense. So, yeah, have running game and defense will travel. That's where the Packers are at right now. Simitovich, what's up, man? Have you ever seen a tougher division than ours? Not that leaps to mind, man. It's absolutely incredible. I mean, you've got 3 teams sitting there, top of, not only obviously the division, but like the conference and racking up double-digit wins, jockeying for a playoff position that goes from if, there's a chance that Lions Vikings could turn out to be either, the winner obviously wins the division and the loser drops down to the 5th in the seeding. It's crazy, man. Absolutely crazy. Nick, I'm glad you asked this. Nags, any team you want to avoid in the first round of the playoffs, or does it just not matter? Ultimately, Nick, it doesn't matter. You're going to have to play good teams on your way to the Super Bowl. That's just a way it works. And now, sometimes, yes, with the addition of Super Wildcard Weekend and a 7th seed, we've seen some lopsided matchups, no doubt about it. But ultimately, you got to beat good teams. You got to play well and beat good teams to get where you want to go. It doesn't matter. Now, I think there's some teams that maybe the Packers match up better against. I do think, and I know you're not going to believe this after last night's performance, but I think the Bucs would give the Packers problems simply because I think Todd Bowles really has a good handle on LaFleur. And that doesn't necessarily mean he's got the horses he always has, but obviously Baker, the offense, etc., they're banged up. But I think that's a team that could give the Packers problems. But ultimately, worried about it, scared of it? No, of course not. You got to beat good teams. You got to beat hard matchups. You got to play good. You got to absolutely take advantage of opportunities that are there. So, any teams you quote want to avoid? Not really. You're going to have to play a tough matchup at some point, probably a couple of them. Why not hit the ground running, right? Mike Witt, what's up, man? The only Eeyore thing I have to say is that roughing the quarterback penalty on Cox was horrible. Just put a dress on the quarterback already. Merry Christmas. I hear you, man. It's a really borderline call. I looked like he's coming up. Does he know he's let go of the football? I'm sure he would say no. You got to be aware, though. Yeah, I'm sure that's what Matt's telling him there on the sideline. But hey, you got it back, right? He got his later in the game, so I ain't too worried about it. William, thanks for the super chat, man. How much different does it look on tape without Preston? Thanks for all you do. Merry Christmas. Thank you, William. I mean, it definitely looks a little bit more explosive. It definitely looks a little bit more, I want to say, I don't know, there's a bend there that whether it's Cox, whether it's even LVN who got involved tonight, um, whoever the young guy is who is taking the place of where Preston would have been, you've seen a little bit more athleticism, bend, explosiveness. It's not jumping out the gym kind of stuff, but it's noticeable. Now, what you've lost a little bit is Preston's presence on the edge in the run game in particular. I mean, he could control a guy out there. And if you're trying to run his way, you're not going to be very successful. Some of these guys have, in their, overzealous kind of attempt to get to the quarterback, yes, occasionally they can leave the door open for, to be taken advantage of in the run game. But even then, I think for the most part, they've held up well. So, yeah, I don't, it's never, oh, Preston wasn't holding them back or anything like that. I'm not going to say that. But I think it's clear the youth and, some of the malleable nature of guys who haven't put in as much, down in, down out kind of banked reps, as Rogers used to call it, um, that Preston has in this league. You get used to a way of working, and now you've got a new scheme and you're being asked to work in a different way. Certainly didn't seem to be working very well for Preston, and I think, the Packers did right by him, getting him to Pittsburgh, where he's playing in a system that's much more, you know, akin to what he's been doing in Green Bay for the last X number of years. Oh, Mr. JJ, how much better can this defense be when we get back Alexander Walker and Williams? I'm glad you included Walker in there because I've already seen people talking about, oh, Walker, they're not going to miss him, whatever. Man, you saw Wilson get taken advantage of a couple of times by some of the interior guys for the Saints tonight. And yeah, that's happened to Walker on occasion, but you certainly notice the lack of explosiveness from the inside there when Walker is not in the mix, so to speak. And I do think he was playing much better since the bye week. Um, you definitely want him out there. As for your question, you get Alexander Walker and Williams back. Yeah, they can be a lot more multiple. They can give you a lot of different types of looks and can do things against kind of your route combos and definitely some of the more downfield kind of attempts, looks, what have you, that maybe you're not going to be comfortable if you're Jeff Halfley doing with Zane Anderson and company out there and Stokes in the mix a lot, etc. Um, gotta have some horses to run those courses, no doubt about it. Oh, here we go. Bummed to hear from Matt LaFleur that there is concern with Watson. We need him for a deep run, and I just hate that for him. Yeah, you don't love it. And, look, like I was saying earlier, I know I get the frustration, but man, the kid did try to go. That's my thing with Watson is that for as frustrating as it can be, when he does get hurt, you think, oh, here we go again. But man, he took that shot, got up, was clearly had a little hitch in his giddy up, and then was back out there for a few plays. He's the kid's going to give it a go. He's not going to shut down. Like for all the nicks and the problems he's had injury wise, I don't ever question his heart. I don't ever question his commitment. He's always trying to get on the field, and that's essentially all you can ask. Joe, what's up, man? Playoffs? Are you kidding me? Playoffs? Yeah, playoffs, baby. I mean, in Green Bay, it feels like a birthright, but you should never take it for granted. I mean, just think about the year when the Packers, the most recent year, when they lost to the Lions that last game of the season and weren't in the playoffs. Remember how awful that was? Remember that? You don't ever want that. That's the worst feeling. Saints guy. I told you there was no firepower. I mean, yeah, especially when MVS was down, it was essentially not anyone that can really hurt you out there. No doubt about that. Zero lightning. I'm so glad that the Packers game got flexed to a later time on Sunday, and Fox sticks me with Cowboys versus Eagles. I don't know what to tell you, man. Join us in the 21st century here and get some YouTube TV and get your fix on your Sunday ticket. I could never live like that ever. Brandy says, "I want to knock out the Vikings and the Lions in that order." I like where your head's at, Brandy. Mike Witt, thanks again, man. Matt LaFleur just said Evan Williams is out until at least the playoffs. Not good. We're going to need him for the playoffs. I mean, yeah, not good, but we want him healthy, right? And look, hey, man, we got Zane Anderson. All is well. I kid. Obviously, that sucks. Hate it for the rookie, but you need him. You absolutely need him for the playoff run. So, got to get him healed up. Oh, my. After all, I think Gutekunst is a pretty smart person. Hey, so do I. Absolutely. There's no question about it. He is a pretty smart person. Soder says Reed will just need to be better with no Watson. I mean, here's the thing. Don't forget, last year down the stretch, guys stepping up. Bo Melton was the first 100-yard receiver they had all season long last year. So, guys are going to have to step up. Look, you got Dontavian Wicks involved tonight. Guys who traditionally haven't been getting a ton of looks. They're going to have to step to the fore. Talking about Brian Gutekunst being a smart person. Well, he's built this wide receiving core. Watson can't go, which it sounds like he won't be able to. Time for other guys to shine. That's all it is. Badger Trio, what's going on, man? Lack of respect Matt LaFleur still gets in the media is wild. Yeah, it's he's got to win these end of season games. And I get, the praise that Kevin O'Connell is getting. I get some of these other kind of contenders, so to speak, where expectations weren't high and now they're doing well. And so they get conversation for coach of the year. But Matt LaFleur is perennially underrated. There is zero doubt about it. But yeah, as long as he's, winning 12, 13 games a year, getting to the playoffs, but not winning the big one, I fear that's going to be his albatross as far as the media perception, right? There's no doubt that he is one of the best coaches in the league, in my mind. But there's always going to be narratives about, oh, this team wasn't expected to do anything, and now they're doing something, or this quarterback wasn't going to do anything, and now he's doing something. Never mind the fact that Malik Willis looks like he could start for half the league, and that was after being discarded by the Titans, who have gone through two garbage ass quarterbacks this year, probably praying they could get Malik Willis back. Matt LaFleur just quietly going about his business, balling out, killing it. Love confetti Lombardi. Brandy, that's a perfect place to end it. All right, everybody. I'm gonna have to jump. I cannot thank you enough for hanging out, talking Packers after a big dominating win over the New Orleans Saints. Please do me a monster favor. Hit like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and then tell your friends and tell your family. Cheesehead TV, we are devoted to Green Bay Packers fans worldwide. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a great night. I'll be back tomorrow at some point in the afternoon. It'll probably be earlier than the normal time because I got my girls coming over for Christmas Eve dinner. I want to be ready for that. So it'll be somewhat late afternoonish. So be on the lookout for that. And hey, the easy way to figure it out is just subscribe and turn on your notifications so you know when we're live, both for daily, Packer transplants, etc. Do that. In the meantime, thanks so much, everybody. Have a great night. Merry Christmas. Go Pack Go.